Good evening. The first thing I want to talk about tonight is C-SPAN. Um, I get a couple of the C-SPAN channels. I think there are three. I actually get two of them where I live. And so I get an opportunity to watch it several times a week. And when the first thing I want to talk about are what I think are called the morning speeches. Now, I understand that that's a function that probably has some utility. I'm not sure whether it has a necessity. And I see various Congress people getting up in the morning and talking. They have, I think, 1-minute speeches and 5-minute speeches. And I understand that, but I don't understand whether they are really useful. And the reason I bring that up is because there is one commodity that we can never gain more of, and that's time. So along that line, you would think that with so many issues of concern to so many people in the United States and things that are important to be taken care of, that Congress's use of the legislative schedules would be something that they would do more diligently. Going along with that, this morning there was a House debate, and this goes back to something that they were working on in the Rules Committee yesterday, having to do with whether or not Americans that live in whatever state, if they have a concealed carry permit for a weapon, to allow them to carry that weapon, concealed weapon, in any of the other states that allow concealed carry. And it turned into a huge dogfight in the Rules Committee, and it did on the House floor this morning. So my question is, why is this issue so important as to occupy some of the very little time that Congress has to debate more, I think, important things? While this was going on, it was pointed out by House Democrats that House Republicans had not presented any jobs bills because that seems to be one of the biggest issues in the country right now, is the unemployment rate. And I thought it was the height of hypocrisy for the Democrats to say that when this whole crisis began, and Democrats had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, that the first thing they decided to spend their political capital on was Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. So that stone has been thrown at the glass houses on either side of the street now. And still, we see so much gridlock, so little effectiveness. Now, I want to talk about healthcare for a few minutes because this, it's news just recently that the Supreme Court is going to take up Obamacare, or portions of it, and that's going to attract a lot of attention, so much attention that I understand that the Supreme Court is going to allow 5 or 5.5 hours of argument on that. C-SPAN and several congressional leaders are asking for the Supreme Court to allow that to be televised, and we'll wait to see whether that happens or not. C-SPAN offers the audio portion of Supreme Court arguments, I think, at the end of the week that they occur. And those are sometimes very interesting. Now, in the United States, we get back to one of the principles is in the Constitution is to promote the general welfare of the U.S. public. And I think health care is a very important part of that. I think most people believe that good health care should be available to everyone in the United States. But everyone's divided on how it should be done because, once again, going back to, as I've said before, the first law of the universe applies. It's always about the money. It's how, where's the money going to come from? Who's going to get paid for it? Who's going to benefit from it? Is it going to be insurance agencies, etc. But that's gridlocked us. Healthcare is pretty expensive in the United States, or we spend a lot on it, I understand. And that causes me to ask again, why? We hear that it is expensive and that the cost of healthcare is going up greater than the rate of inflation or what have you, and has been for a while. But we had that with housing prices, and look what happened there, the bubble. We had that with the S&L crisis with commercial property going way back into the 80s, and you saw what happened there. We currently have it with colleges and universities. The cost of education is going up, and it's exponentially almost compared to the rest of the economy. No one I ever heard asked why. They would say that it is going up, but no one was asking why is it going up. And look where we have now. We have $1 trillion in student loan debt. And some recent articles that I've read have said that college is completely ineffective now for someone to attend college because it accomplishes absolutely none of the goals that it should be, and that's to provide someone with a good broad-based education and some specifics in their major to be able to go out and be a productive member of society and make a living for themselves and be a benefit to society. And so that's not what it is anymore. It's just a way to shackle young people with debt far before they're prepared to go out in the world and start earning a living. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but there they are with a degree, or even worse, if they have to drop out and have this big pile of student debt that they've got to start paying on. Student loans are not forgivable in a bankruptcy, as I understand. So, going back to healthcare, we should have a way for everyone to get healthcare in the United States in an affordable manner, and I'm talking even for those that can't afford it. But, of course, the way the Democrats went about it with Obamacare was completely the wrong way to do it. The next thing I'm going to talk about tonight is something that I plan to do in the future, starting tonight, and that's naming names. I'm going to, they say politics is perception, and that perception is reality. You've heard those phrases before. And so I'm going to name the names of some of the people that I see in Congress that really give me the impression that they're not there for the right reasons and the reasons that they should be. And I'm going to start off tonight with a Democrat. That's Jim McGovern. He is on the Rules Committee. He is one of the most argumentative people that I've ever seen in Congress. He was actually arguing the. They always put him on the front bench for these whatever contentious issues are between the Democrats and the Republicans, and he was there arguing on this concealed carry bill this morning. And so I'm just going to leave it there. Mr. McGovern, Congressman McGovern, you are not making any friends with people that watch you on television, on C-SPAN, etc., and don't know you. You may be a perfectly nice guy in real life, but you don't come across that way. Because you can tell, everybody has a sense of, and it may be proved wrong later, but everyone can develop a sense, or has a sense, of someone that's genuine, or at least comes across as genuine. And then in order for them to be genuine, they've got to have a track record. And I don't know if I said that right, but I think everyone knows what I mean. The next person I'm going to name the name is another person that's on the Rules Committee, and it's Alcee Hastings. And I will tell you, once again, very argumentative, almost to the point that it's very hard to watch him during. And I like to watch the Rules Committees because I think the Congressional Rules Committee is a good way, I think, to find out what's going on and what's about to happen. But not coming across as very genuine to me. The third person I'm going to mention is a Republican, and that's Eric Cantor. And this congressperson, the majority leader, I think now, is someone that really worries me, because if he succeeds Speaker Boehner, I think we're in big trouble. Big trouble. I just get the impression that Eric Cantor is a shill for big business and corporations, and has absolutely no interest in regular people. And that may not be the case, but that's what I think. And certainly when he recently spoke, there was a video that just went, I don't know if it went viral, but a lot of people watched it, of a recent invitation that he had to Rice University in Houston, and called the Mic Check. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he is not welcomed, and there's a lot of bad press about him on the internet if you read it. So those were a few of the things that I wanted to talk about today. And this is Wednesday, November the 16th, and I hope you have a good evening.